Media embargoes. They're really important, and violating them comes with lots of consequences, including absolute turmoil for the internet. PrintFixFriday 106 is going to be a little different, but hey, it's still something that we can all learn from. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are experiencing some print failures, hit us up on the social media channels. We offer free 3D printing advice to help you get printing with purpose. You can slide into those DMs or email us directly, youtube@3dmusketeers.com. But let's dive right into today's subject after we ask you guys to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and talk about why contracts are so incredibly important and why embargoes matter and why this actually matters for PrintFixFriday. A lot of you might be aware of that Bambu Lab recently released a brand new printer, the A1 Mini, and it looks like a Prusa Mini with an MMU unit on it. And the new AMS Mini looks like the droids that say Roger, Roger. Now you can't unsee that. This machine was about a 3-week lead up of pretty intense social media posting from Bambu Lab themselves, as well as content creators that got one of these machines early. But about 12 hours before the set media embargo was to expire and creators were able to post their thoughts, reviews, photos, anything about this machine, we had a leak so bad that Phil Swift himself was foaming at the mouth. So let's talk about the leak, the resulting fallout, and what can be done here, if anything. This was the photo that made it to social media. It was first posted into Facebook groups, then it hit Twitter or X, and then it made its way into our Discord, where we all very clearly recognized that rear icon. That is the logo of the next layer, Jonathan Levy. He is well known for being one of the people that Bambu Lab flew out to Shenzhen to see their facility as well as work with some other companies while he was out there. This is a faux pas amongst faux pas. See, a media embargo is effectively where people have contractually agreed to not talk about something until a specified point of time. Normally that is listed by the company and it carries hefty fines, fees, and legal problems if you do violate it, because you're not only hurting the company, but you're hurting everybody else who's actually following the freaking embargo. Mr. Levy decided that he wanted to play a fine game of f around and find out, and didn't realize that those lines are linear, where the more you f around, the more you're gonna find out. It doesn't get better from here. In the video that he had, this was a YouTube premiere that was posted about 24 hours before it was set to go live. And he said that he might release it a day early to Patreon members. You're covered. That is still a violation of a media embargo. You can't do that. And even doing that for paid members, that is just not only not contractually okay, but that is unethical at best. I recognize that a lot of content creators will pre-release videos to Patreon or channel member supporters of some sort, and we do something similar where we edit our videos live in our Discord channel every single time before they go live. But if there is a media embargo around it, you must abide by those contractual obligations. That is not something that you can at all violate without hefty problems coming down the line. And we can see that this was clearly at least mildly planned. Soon after the YouTube premiere was actually scheduled, it went out to Patreon members as well as photos, which spread like wildfire across the internet, with Bambu mods trying their hardest to kind of delete everything as much as possible. Around 11 p.m. Eastern, I was made aware of the video link, which was on Vimeo, and at that point, well, by the time I see it, tons of other people have seen it as well. When this leak occurred, it was about 4 o'clock in the morning for him. So when he woke up 12:15 in the morning Eastern time, saying that he is currently trying to figure out how and who leaked his team's internal Vimeo review page of the new Bambu Lab machine. He's freaking livid and can only begin to imagine the damage this is going to have on relationships and how many views the video will get. First off, nobody cares about the views. Dude, welcome to life. Things happen. I'd be much more concerned about where things are going to go for me financially, because I'm probably about to get sued over something like this. You don't violate contracts. As someone that works in contracts often, we do contracts for a lot of the jobs that we do, and we often work in heavily regulated contract environments where violating those contracts can result in federal prison time and potentially being charged with high crimes against the United States of America. We don't mess around with contracts, but how and who? It was you. It was you that leaked it. In fact, you even talked about doing it. I had toyed with the idea that I might post the video a day early to my 9 early access Patreon members, as I teased on the video chat, but decided against it. Instead, I was going to maybe post an hour early, which still would have been a huge mistake. I admit, yes, that's still a violation of a contract. Vin Diesel said it best. Doesn't
matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
It doesn't matter if you post it early by a day, an hour, or a second. You are still violating the contract. You can't do that. He said that he failed to communicate this to his team, and that his own assistant, following their standard protocol for releasing videos, posted on Patreon as soon as it was done. They did this despite their own judgment telling them not to, because again, he forgot to update them. Otherwise, his mistake. This is a standard business practice. At the end of the day, you do not blame your team for failures. That's not fair, because you're blaming somebody that is either nameless or completely non-existent. That is trying to pass the buck off to someone that you could easily say has been terminated from the company, when in reality, these were likely just planned posts that went live. We have a feeling, and it's a feeling that I've talked about multiple times on the podcast, that failure rides solely upon my shoulders, and success rides 100% on the team. Failure means that I, as the business owner, did not do something right. Even if one of the staff members had a hand in that failure, the buck stops with me, the business owner. And if something happens against what I wanted to do, I'm not going to blame my team. I'm going to blame myself for not communicating that better. He carries on saying, for convenience, the video was posted using our internal Vimeo account, which we use for review pre-release content, rather than Patreon's own video hosting. This made it liable to be leaked by digging up the embedded URL, and that's exactly what somebody did. Of course they did. Because this is the internet. This is a product that has been under a media embargo. Of course, if you post it early, someone is going to try to find a way. But to be clear, even if you posted it to Patreon's internal system for videos, one, it's like a 500 megabyte limit, so your video probably would not have fit anyways. But two, there's nothing stopping somebody from downloading it from Patreon and posting it somewhere else. That's not an excuse that I call valid. The excuse is, it was on me, some things happened down the line that didn't work well, it's my fault, and I'm sorry. This resulted in a long tweet thread, X thread. I don't like the way X thread sounds. We're gonna go with tweet thread. He says, everything began to get shared around, he was asleep, and when he woke up, he instantly went into damage control. It was a lapse in judgment, as he says, and it has taken the wind out of sails for both creators and for Bambu Lab, which will very seriously and negatively impact everybody involved, and he is mortified, and he should be. You absolutely should be mortified should something like this happen. This is why we talk so much about data security, because at the end of the day, this is exactly what a data breach looks like, especially when it's a 0-day data breach. He had no knowledge of this. He was made aware when he was likely violently awoken to a ton of DMs and lots of tags on social media saying, bro, WTF, mate. He says that's his burden to bear. He fouled up, failed to communicate that to his team, and then placed trust in the community instead of taking the embargo much more seriously. What kills him, though, is the impact his oversight will have on other creators and on the launch as a whole. He can only hope that the launch goes well from there, both creators and for Bambu Lab. It's a phenomenal printer, he says, created by wonderful people, questionable, and as you can tell, he was apparently very excited, perhaps too excited, to share it with the world and celebrate their achievements. And he says, so, from the bottom of my heart, I am so sorry. I know firsthand how hard we all work on these videos and launches, and I have never intended to steal any of your creative thunder. I screwed up massively, and I can only hope to earn back your trust as the community. That to me is not an apology. It is his attempt to pass the buck. It is his attempt to blame the community, blame his staff, and have a way to look at a way of deflecting. And I don't like that. Mr. Levy is not new to content creation. In fact, he comes from the world of crypto and has done multiple channels in the past. He is not new to the idea of a media embargo. This is not some rookie mistake by a 1,000 subscriber YouTuber. This is by somebody who's been doing this professionally for years in multiple different industries, who knows how to get people's attention, who knows how to do these things. In his own Discord, there is some fallout saying that, yeah, other people didn't make it better by spreading the info, but guess what? Welcome to the internet. He said, nope, I'm excommunicated completely. My entire affiliate account will be shut down. Yeah. And I bet Bambu is feeling real sour right now about spending all that cash to fly this guy out for multiple days to tour the facility. Now he has insider information and has proven to be a source of a leak. Shutting him off completely is the first step in this process. You are effectively terminating an employee because, well, you have a professional relationship. So he's being terminated. Access revoked, excommunication, exactly what you would expect. This is just the start, and he's lucky if this is as far as it goes for him financially. But we can see that things are, I don't know, man. I don't like the way this feels either. He says, thanks, guys. I appreciate your support. I'm going to let the dust settle and try to rebuild trust. I can never trust somebody that very validly shows that they had no care for the contract that they signed. Someone that wanted to get the hype out, to get more paid followers. And in fact, publicly talked about it in a likely attempt to get more followers. People that are paying to see this video early. Buddy, I don't think this was a mistake. I think it was a mistake that you didn't expect it to go as crazy as it did. I think this went, at least internally, fully according to plan. And you just didn't expect it to get leaked the way that it did. Because apparently you don't know how the internet works. He says, your kind words and support make a big difference and will probably be really helpful in reestablishing my good standing in the community. No, integrity matters, and rebuilding it doesn't work, because always a company is going to wonder, are they going to care about my contract? Are they going to care about what I said? He goes on saying, I really blew it this time, but I was bound to learn a lesson. I've been walking a tightrope to give you guys behind the scenes access as much as possible without overstepping, and this time I overstepped. That's right, you played the game and you lost. But see, as content creators, we shouldn't be walking a tightrope. We know what our boundaries are. They're well documented in contracts. And if you want to give people stuff early, then you must make sure that your contract allows for it, or that there just isn't a contract and you can show them videos a day before they go live. And so while I do feel bad for Mr. Levy here, I kind of don't. Because this is exactly what you get when you do decide that contracts matter for everybody else except you. Your first tweet about this is directly looking at who you can blame and then talking about how it's going to hurt you financially. Buddy, you just got back from a multi-day trip that was likely bought and paid for to Shenzhen to visit these companies. You're financially doing just fine, because I'm sure it was more than just the trip, or at least I hope it was. It needs to be, because you need to get paid for your time. But this kind of thing upsets me, because creators that followed the rules saw all of this press and media that their followers were waiting to get from them be found on a platform that was public for a couple of hours in Vimeo. And then when he locked it down, he put it behind the world's most insecure password, Bambu Lab. I still question why this video would have ever been sent to Bambu in the first place. Because ultimately, as a content creator, you need to have the confidence to know that whatever you say is going to be what it is, because that's your experience. And if you're letting a company determine what you say and how you say it for a product launch like this, who are you actually working for? And who is actually paying your bills. I don't want to watch a review, whether you call it that or not, from somebody who has already sent this review to a company to review. Because if the company says, no, take this out and change this, that review that the creator made is no longer what the creator made. It's what the company wants the people to see. So I don't see the value in sending this out to companies ahead of time. And in fact, it's a well-standing policy in this industry that this is just not something that people do. And we know that a lot of people didn't do this because some of them have even been public about how soon they had finished their video before the video was set to go live that next morning. I feel for Mr. Levy here, but you kind of reap what you sow. And this is what I've discussed before of people not understanding contracts, people not reading the fine print and just saying, I accept because they want something shiny, or, not reading an end user license agreement and realizing that your data now becomes the property of a different company. This is case in point of how this problem starts. Now, what are the penalties here? I don't know. I didn't get one of those contracts because very obviously I'm not on Bambu's nice list. I am certainly on their naughty list, and hopefully I'm not on the same list that this individual will be on as well, because at least I read my contracts. That's just my personal opinion. You guys are welcome to make your own in the comments below, but this is probably the biggest fail that we have seen in this industry in a long time, because it ruined a product launch that, well, as you're going to see in just a second, I'm not exactly amazed with either. So we know about what happened with the leak, and we now also know that even though on Bambu Lab's own page, they set 5 goals before they set off this journey 22 months ago. No more bed slingers. Bed slinger. No more bed slingers. Bed slinger. I don't know what to tell you guys there. Now, mind you, this is from the X1 page, but guys, Bambu, you said no more bed slingers, and then you released a bed slinger. The A1 Mini is a 180mm cube printer. That might be a size that you're used to, because if you own a Creality Ender 2, a Kingroon KP3S, I forget the naming scheme for that, or a Prusa Mini, or many other machines that fit the same cantilevered Cartesian style platform, you'll recognize this from a mile away. Now, you might not recognize the battle droid that's next to it, but we can see here that this is the brand new Bambu Lab A1, which, credit where it's due, Bambu, your websites are always absolutely amazing. Beautiful part, looks great. Is it 4 color? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's 4 color. So that is theoretically possible. The Mini itself is Bambu's attempt to bring 3D printing into the home. At $459 US for the combo with the AMS light, yeah, it's a pretty decent deal. But I will say that being locked into the Bambu Lab ecosystem might not be something that users would like. Having a printer that is open source, or at least has much more availability of parts that get to you very quickly, rather than having to buy from a single source provider, that would be the deal. And these printers come with some sort of mystery box. It feels very Loot Crate-y, which feels very gambling-y.
Well, first, we don't call them loot boxes. What we look at as surprise mechanics.
We've got the AMS Lite, which solves one of the biggest problems that the original AMS had. It's that it's not compatible with every spool, because certain diameters and widths of spools would not fit in the original AMS, something that the Hydra AMS was set out to solve, something that I was going to do, but after so much BS with Bambu Lab, I opted not to do it because it would give them one more reason to not help me with my machine. This kind of solves that problem as long as the internal bore of your spool is enough to fit those rollers. I don't know what compatibility we're going to see, but there is definitely some spools that we have here in our shop that would not fit on those rollers. So it's not cross-compatible, but it is certainly more compatible than the original AMS. I don't mind this format either, but I do kind of like the enclosure that we had on the AMS. Its setup, the original AMS, was very nice, and probably one of the better multi-material and, well, more specifically, multicolor units available on the market, because it did just work. The system does fully auto-calibrate. It's got active flow compensation, which looks like it's probably some form of a load cell to determine that. It has a silent print mode under 48 dB, which I'm not exactly certain how they determine that, but 48 dB is crazy quiet. Your average conversation is 50 to 65 dB, somewhere in that range, and most people's noise floor is around 40 to 42 dB. I have measured our noise floor in here, and this is at 1 meter away, and our noise floor is about 53 to 55 dB with no machines running. That's just fan noise. If my air conditioning is running, it's quite a bit higher. 48 dB is effectively dead silent as far as most people are going to be concerned. But I also don't know how they measured that. If you had the measuring unit really far away, yeah, of course, because of the inverse square law, math that I care not to get into right now. But if those claims are actually true, 48 dB means you probably won't even notice it's actually working. Reliability, Bambu Lab quality to trust. I have not experienced that personally, so we're gonna put an asterisk on that. For me, reliability has not been there. High speed precision with 10,000 millimeter per second squared acceleration. I like that. That is what you would expect to see out of a Core XY printer, but they're giving it to you in a Cartesian. Very nice. And they have their maker world, which is start printing with one click. I'm not too fond of that kind of thing, but I recognize the average user might be. We can see that it is relatively plug and play. It only takes about 20 minutes to set up your first print, but I would argue that a lot of 3D printers on the market are also about 20 minutes to set up, like the Sovol SV06 and SV06 Plus, which are considerably less expensive than the A1 Mini. Mind you, they don't have an AMS, so grain of salt there. You could easily have them set up and printing within 20 minutes without a single problem at all. We can see that it does full auto calibration, auto bed leveling, using what I think is a nozzle probe, although we have seen some people saying that it could be an eddy current sensor, which would be cool, but it's already something that exists on the market. The auto bed leveling, it's not unique. This is not new. We've had auto bed leveling for years. While I get that it is marketing, I don't know that every print job is going to be right. We can see that they do probe the bed with the nozzle, but we're not certain if it is an eddy current sensor or not. And it does use that to measure the absolute Z offset. No need to use paper as a reference. Yeah, a lot of printers do that. Like, those have done it for the last 5 years. And printers well before the Mark III have done it as well. And they say that it has an intuitive UI, which is as easy as your smartphone. And if the UI is anything like the X1 Carbon, I would have to agree. The UI on the X1 Carbon is one of the reasons why I kept that machine around so long. It is easy to use. However, I just can't trust it. And if you don't have an ability to utilize a micro SD card, a USB thumb drive, whatever, on the A1 Mini, I will never be able to recommend it because there's no way to print without a network. And I do firmly believe that people should be able to print without losing any functionality by keeping a machine air-gapped. They say worry-free printing, start and relax. Bambu Lab printers are known for their worry-free printing experience that has been widely praised by our fantastic user base. Check out what our users have to say about our printers on the market. Yeah, you guys are more than welcome to check out what I've said about Bambu Lab and their lack of worry-free printing ability to just start and relax. We will card to my 6-month review where I'm still frustrated with my second machine that is absolutely a second lemon. And we'll link in the description to my 1-month experience where I was sending my first machine back because it was that unreliable. I do not agree that Bambu Lab printers are worry-free. I have had bad experiences. I know there are other people that have had good experiences, but I know plenty that have had bad. And have had bad experiences with the user base when they're trying to get help. Because people instantly blame the user before they look at saying, all right, what is actually going on here? And I got a bit of a problem with that. And so then we have Maker World, which is Bambu Lab's model repository, which I can certainly say would be very valuable if I was a first-time user just looking to 3D print something. It can be a pain in the butt to learn a slicer, know my settings, and then try to print it. But I think that is valuable to learn so that you can choose what color things are, what speed they're printed, what infill level. But as someone that doesn't have access yet to Maker World, I don't exactly know what level of certainty that you have for modification. But one click tells me you probably don't have a lot of customization options available. It is nice to see, but I hope it's not completely overran with intellectual property theft models, because That's a paddling.
Oh, you better believe that's a paddling.
We can see that they've also completely changed their hot end setup for quick swap nozzles that remove the silicone sock. Then it is a one clip to remove and replace a new hot end. And you know what? A+. Ever since we started switching some of our machines over to Revos, I swap nozzles way more often. And while it's not that difficult to do a regular nozzle swap when it's hot, I totally get the value of a one-click system. I totally get the value of doing it when it's cold. I dig it. So kudos where it's deserved. This is really nice. It's not innovative to have an easy nozzle swap system, but it is in a closed source environment like this. And while yes, there is some closed source around the E3D Revo, it's not closed source like this. And Bambu Lab has even heard some of the security concerns where you can completely cover the camera lens. Now, I wish there was just a way to disable it so it would just turn off as well, but I'm sure somebody will find a way to just unplug the camera. That is a start. You don't have to put any more tape over it, so I can dig that. But of course, you're going to lose a lot of the functionality that the camera would give you, because it's not available. But it's nice to see a physical defeat now available on the machines for no additional printing. So where does that leave us? I think that the launch was botched, and it was botched by one person. And while that person is going to blame their team, they're going to blame the community, they're going to blame a lot of other people other than themselves. I think they themselves have to be blamed here. I would love to know what you guys think of the A1 Mini, this whole debacle regarding the leak and everything to come of it in those comments down below, because I'd love to have a chat about it, because I think that there's some good communication we can have. We will likely be talking about this further in a podcast episode, so stay tuned, get subscribed, and hey, leave a like if you haven't. But stay safe out there, don't forget to call your loved ones, and as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video, and a massive thank you goes out to all of our awesome channel supporters whose names are listed right next to me at the $5 tier and higher. Remember, for as little as $1 a month, you can support us on some of your favorite platforms. Links to those are in the description down below. And hey, at the $10 tier and higher, you get to come hang out with us in our private Discord, where we share with you things, as long as they're not contractually obligating us not to, because, we know contracts. Right below me will be the entire PrintFix Friday series, where you can see over 100 episodes of where we look at print failures and how to fix them. It's a lot of fun, especially if you're going through some issues yourself. Right next to that will be my 1 month look at a Bambu Lab X1 Carbon, my first of now 2 lemon printers. I will see you guys down in the comments and in the next one. Take care.